something that is memorable. People should remember whatever your brand is. You have to have a decent UI UX strategy in case your product is both hardware and software. You need to have a fun-do product packaging. It needs to look good. You know, it's all about, it's just like a marriage. The package, the packaging, the packing, the way the whole thing is presented creates the wow factor when people see, wow, what a great couple, right? So that product packaging is very important. Then of course, photography, rendering, you know, your books in which you keep looking at those pictures later. Those are the things that are extremely important in terms of quality of course, first of all, when you're talking about prototyping, you have to have a fun quality prototype. It should be a show quality prototype so that the next level investor looks at it and say, wow, this is something that is absolutely ready to go to market. If you have a B grade, C grade prototype, people will say, ha, abhi karo, abhi just keep working on it. You know, you are still not there. So maybe when you have something more refined, we will, you know, fund you for the next level and so on. So quality prototyping, then taking fun-do pictures so that you have a you know, product brochure or catalog or online short video or animation that says, wow, wonderful. That's extremely important. And then you need to have some animations that show things that you can't show with pictures. So maybe an explored view, if there's some in-depth technology that is doing something is happening inside the blood, and then, you know, make some animations to show that, so that when you showcase that, somebody actually understands what you're saying. There are a lot of companies that I saw, they are doing some tech work, and then it may not be so easily understandable for an investor, next level investor, or even a customer as to what you're doing. So to be able to present it in a way that it is clearly understood and there's a wow on the face of the person, this whole bottom part is extremely important. And then of course, digital marketing. So who is your target audience? And then whether it's Facebook or Instagram or any other method, your own website, and then sending your links. Then whether it's email marketing or it is referral marketing, or you're collecting email IDs, or you're using influencers, or how you are promoting your product to the right audience, whatever is the right audience, is then, you know, the next step. And then if you're looking at pre-sales, if you're looking at pre-orders, then this whole thing becomes extremely important, because somebody has to be extremely wowed so that he's willing to spend money before he's actually able to get the product in his hands, or see the products, or sign an MOU with you that, okay, they would sell it or they would manufacture it later, if in case you're interested in licensing and so on. So all what you're seeing on the screen and more is something that you guys need to do to make a successful business. And I'm not talking about the business part, the finance part, or the marketing part at present. I'm just talking about what needs to be done, like physically done, so that the marketing team can do something and your finance can, you know, manage that later and so on. So why am I showing you this slide? Because you guys have to have a picture of this put up in your rooms, and you need to be able to tick, okay, I am done this, I'm done with this, I'm done with this. And you have to add more steps, because in prototyping there are multiple steps, in engineering there are multiple steps. From prototyping to tooling to engineering, there is a lot of DFM, there's failure mode analysis, there's a lot that happens as smaller steps. But the point is, as an overview, all this needs to be done, and all this is equally important. So what happens is, if I'm...
Sandy, sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
So now there is a stage between prototyping and tooling manufacturing. So between prototyping and mass production, there is a gap. And if a company wants to do a pre-sales, so we cannot invest more on tooling and manufacturing. Let's say I want to sell few products, that is 50 numbers or 100 numbers. Before going to mass production, I want to try it with my customers. So in that case, the investment will not be there on this area, tooling and manufacturing, because most of the investment goes to tooling and manufacturing for physical product, right? So in that case, how would you recommend this?
So no, it all depends. So see, if you're looking at certification, and if you're going to give the parts to the consumers, in high probability you should get the tooling done, because otherwise what will happen is you will certify with prototype parts. Your prototype would be in ABS, the final product would be in ABS PC, then you have to go for certification again. Your initial PC prototype PCB will have some components, but due to certification requirements, you will change something. Then you will have to get the new PCB certified again. So generally, we recommend that if you can afford the tooling cost, you should give the tool components for final certification. Pre-certification results will tell you what your product finally demands in terms of all the iterations that you need to do for certification. In some cases, we do get into crowdfunding support and digital marketing and so on with the prototypes. And we have suffered. There are companies in Ahmedabad who have shut down also because they did crowdfunding for an ECG device, which was a jacket for a mobile phone. And it became a big company. They got funding after 1.5 years. When they did not get the FDA certification, the investor pulled the plug and they had to shut down. And we bought their equipment to run our to run our lab and so on. So what I'm saying is that that red testing and certification, whatever is in red, those are like the stops. Those are showstoppers. If these two things don't work, if testing with the customers and certification with the authorities don't work, then nothing else works. And to ensure that both these things work well, sometimes it can be done with prototypes if they are simple products. But if you have materials or finishes that demand a certain specific material which cannot be prototyped, and I'll show you examples, then you have to go through that. So yeah, so it depends on the product as to where you stop and where you add in multiple things. These are all plug and play things, but effectively everything needs to be done by the end of it. And let me just take you through the flow. There are a lot of things that I'm going to show and share. Maybe we can, have your questions answered later. Many of them would get answered in the presentation itself.
Okay? Sure. Please go ahead. Yeah.
No problem. Okay. So let me take you through this quick video. This is a 2-3 minute video. It'll give you a quick idea of what we do and what it takes. Okay, just a quick overview that was. And so guys, The next 2-3 slides are the most critical slides of this presentation. If you get it, then whatever I want to communicate is done. Okay. So the first question, whatever you're doing as far as your projects is concerned, why should you do it, right? I'm sure that you all have an inspiration, you all have a reason why you're doing that particular project, right? But we have a repository of about 1000 ideas, and we funnel them down and we do very few of them. And our funneling down criteria is these three words, these three keywords: faster, better, and more. Why? Because we all, as human beings, at a very core level, we know psychologically that our life is limited, and we all want to do more and more in the same amount of time. And that's the subconscious thing that drives us to move forward, be progressive, and do whatever we do. So taking off from there, any product or any service that is significantly faster than what is existing, or significantly better in terms of comfort or feeling or something that it provides you, or for the same amount of money you can buy significantly more, is the key. I buy something, I'm inspired to let go of my current product, let's say my current laptop or my mouse or my notebook or my pen. If the new thing, one, of course, is going to die, so I have to buy a new one. But if that's not the case, and if I have to let go of something that is new, it has to be significantly faster, significantly better, or for the same amount of money, it should give me a lot more, is then when I'm really inspired to let go of what I have and do something new, or buy something new, or invest into something new. For example, I mean, all of you have, or many of you would have done some jobs before, or you see your peers who are doing jobs and so on, right? So if somebody comes and says, look, give me 10% more, if a company comes and tells you, okay, I'll give you 10% more, and you have to move to Mumbai, or you have to move to Delhi, you will say, I'll think about it. If somebody says 20-25% more, you'll go and check out the website. If somebody says 50% more, then you're really interested, and you make a few phone calls and check Delhi mein, how's the weather, what's going on, is it making sense, and so on. But if I straight away say, okay, 150% more, your salary is 1 lakh, I give you 2.5, then it becomes a value proposition where it is significantly more than what you're getting. Then you think, oh yeah, man, I will earn something that I'm earning today in 5 months. Oh, okay, 4 months, 5 months. Yeah, it makes sense. And in high probability, you will jump. You will ignore the negative aspects of that move as well, because what you're getting is significantly more for the same time that you're spending. And this principle applies in anything. If you have a bike, if your bike gives you 10 kilometers more per liter, and somebody says switch from Kawasaki to Hero, you'll say no. But if somebody comes up with a new bike that gives you 200 kilometers for 1 liter, that becomes significantly more for the same amount of money. And then you'll say, yeah, it's okay. Even if I bought this new, I will let go of it because my monthly bill is going to reduce to half, or a car, or anything, right? So use this matrix, look at whatever you're doing, look at your project, okay? And give it a rating between 9, 3, and 1. If it is significantly faster or better or more, in comparison to, I'm assuming that you guys have done enough benchmarking. If you're into it, you would have seen through all the existing products or existing service offerings that exist for that particular area. And if you have not done that, please do it. It's high time you do it. You get into the whole IP space, do it, because otherwise 6 months later, you will find that a new product is launched, which is doing everything that you're doing. And you will feel, oh shit, man, it just doesn't make sense. Why did I spend so much time in this? But I'm assuming that you guys have done that. So I'm assuming that the basic benchmarking is done, and I'm assuming that the basic IP research is done. So on the basis of that, just take a paper and pen and put this number. If it is significantly faster and significantly better and significantly more, it's an invention, because these are contradictions. If you have a bike that runs faster, it will consume more petrol. So more will not happen, less will happen for the same amount of petrol. If you create a bike which has better comfort, that means it has bigger seats, higher volume, more foam, sponge. So it'll have more air resistance. It will not go as fast. So again, your fuel efficiency, your more will reduce, your faster will reduce, but your better will improve. So these are basic contradictions if you understand TRIS principles. So look at your projects, and most of them would be like 9 in one and 1 and 3 in the other two. Okay.
Yeah, and I would like to add one more point in this. So if we look at the market now, there are so many technologies which are monopoly. So if we introduce a choice, which is a very good competent for the monopoly technology, which doesn't give you a significant high
but it's giving you
significant
more
change in the technology. Yeah.
So if you are taking a monopoly technology and if you're doing something which means you're doing it at a cost-effective price, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So which means that if I am paying $20,000 for a diamond cutting machine in the US, if you are making it for 5,000, now I can buy 4 of them for the same price. So then it's significantly more. But if it is only 10% reduction in price, then there's no point doing it.
Let me give you an example. So,
Okay.
so for in India, so we have only geared motorcycles for a long time, and suddenly a company introduced CVT technology in the scooters, right? So now the customer has the choice, but even though it has a mileage drop.
But if so again, something is less, so which means it's no more. More is negative, right? What is better? Something has to be better or something has to be faster, otherwise it will not sell. It's very simple. If you are, just understand this, guys, if you have an air conditioner at home in your room, and if you are used to of sleeping with the air conditioner, whatever new technology I give, if I take away that cooling, you will not buy that. You will not be able to. You need directional progressive guys. Okay, we can temporarily step back and say, okay, I love nature, I'm going back to nature, and then spend 1 year, 2 years like Mahatma Gandhi in villages. But effectively, at the end of the day, you have to run comparable or faster than where you are. I'll give you another example. Do you remember there was a product which it was a strip which you could put in front of your laptop keypad, and then that would map the whole screen, and that would make a normal screen a touch screen, right? So it was just XY coordinate array, and you could move your finger to the screen on a laptop and actually using that, connect it to a USB. But the point is, now I am using a mouse, and my mouse has one finger. My one finger with one little click and a little bit of movement of my mouse, I can move from this end of the screen to the other end of the screen. But if I have to physically lift my arm from left corner to the right corner, I am becoming slower. I am not faster in achieving what I'm trying to achieve. Plus, I have to spend more energy. So my arm, now the amount of energy that I'm using to move my arm from left to right, to move this mouse from here to there, is significantly more than just moving my mouse or a little bit of a small finger onto my trackpad. So I may be amazed, awed by the product. I may buy that product as a gizmo. It may be a trendy product, but it's not going to change the world. People will use the mouse. That will come and go in 2 years. It's no more there. It came about 4, 5, 6 years back. It created some waves, and in 1 or 2 years it's gone. All products, any product that is contrary to faster, better, more will go away. It's just a matter of time. Then if you're making a product which is against this FBM principle and it has a wow factor, then what you have to do is make it quickly, make it in 3 months, sell it in 6 months, and get out of it. Make your money, get out of it, and use that money to make again something which enhances life in either of the 3 ways significantly, or 2 of these 3 ways decently, effectively, or all the 3 in an okay way.
Okay, so I understand that. So when we design a product or when we are inventing a product, so it should have a continuous improvement. So the example which you gave, it doesn't have continuous improvement. So once they launch it, so their vision is over. So can I take it in that way?
No, you have to consider your benchmark. You have to consider what today exists. You have to do a time study. A person using current technology takes how much time, takes how much cost, and what is the comfort level. You have to put some numbers to all those three. If your product is cumulative sum total, that's why I'm telling you to do this exercise. Make the sum total. If your existing benchmarking product, the total becomes 9 plus 3 plus 1, and your total becomes 9 plus 3 plus 3, you have a scope. If your total becomes 9 plus 9 plus 9, you have brilliant scope. You will change the industry. If your total is lesser than the existing one, then better look at newer ways of doing things, or somehow increasing or decreasing some of these factors, or bring in some new IP, or do something. Otherwise, it's going to be a fad. It's not going to be a trend. A trend will remain, a fad will go away. That's one part. There are multiple parts. That's one part. The second part is score. Give yourself score from an IP perspective. If you have freedom to operate, which means that in that space, all patents have expired at 20 years old, and which means that you can make something, give yourself an additional 5 score. If you have filed a patent application, you think it may get granted, but you're not sure, give yourself 10. If you have a search report and the search report says that you will get the patent, consider it granted, or if you have it granted, brilliant, give yourself 20. And if you have an international application that is granted, give yourself additional 30. Okay, so if your FBM principle, your score is high, and if your IP score is high, for sure, whatever you're doing, your next round of funding is not far away. You show it to 5 people, you'll get your funding. If these numbers are low or negative, talk to me separately. Relook at the whole proposition that you have. See what we can add from IP perspective to make it IPable. See what you can transform to take one of these factors at least to an extreme, so that you create a product where it becomes a compelling offering for a customer. Whatever be the space, it really doesn't matter whether it is B2B or B2C. Eventually, a human being is going to use whatever you're doing, and he is concerned about, is it faster, is it better, or is it more for the same amount of money for him? Make sense? Anybody else has any more thoughts, questions? And if you don't have, just make this total. Sorry?
How do you score it? How do you score it? How do you arrive at these numbers? Do you have any something?
Yeah, so it's very simple. So it's 931. So if you are 10% faster with your new bike, give yourself 1. If you are 100% faster, 50% faster with your new bike, give yourself 3. And if you are significantly faster, give yourself 9. If you're disruptive, give yourself 9. Similarly, cost. If something costs 100 rupees, you are able to make it at 30, give yourself 3. If you're able to make it at 10, give yourself a 9. If you're able to make it at 80, give yourself a 1. I mean, whatever your industry is, you would understand what I'm saying. You have to create a parameter for yourself, right? So whatever your offering is, consider again your benchmarking competing products. Think, is my product better? Is it aesthetically better? Is it functionally better? Is the person, it's like when you open a BMW door and close it, you get to hear a sound. If you open an Alto, open and close it, you will get a titch. So that whole, just that experience, that feel itself, in one place you will feel, wow, boss, nice feel, nice texture. I'm sitting on this, wow, it's interesting, it makes sense. So that's a better experience. Sometimes it is subjective, but it's a better experience. So you have to the best of your understanding, give yourself a score. In comparison to the benchmarking products, am I significantly ahead? Give yourself 9. I am okay ahead, give yourself a 3. I am incremental ahead, give yourself a 1. And if your score is 3, then you have to relook at everything that you're doing. If your score is 27, you are there. Then you have to just focus on IP and make sure that you now bypass every IP that exists and have a Fundu IP granted. And then your score is 9 3s are 27 plus 20, 47. And if it's international IP, it becomes 57. Okay, so this is to take a stock of the situation, which means where we are at present. This will inspire you to precisely define why should you do it. Okay, that's part one. Now the second question is, who's doing it? Who should do it? Now this is about you as a person, your team, your peers, your mentors, the whole group, whosoever is involved in guiding you, whosoever is involved in helping you out at a higher level, lower level, mid level, wherever. Okay, so here the point is that the whole process that we saw here, none of us is 100% competent in all areas. Right? Core strength would be, if we are Fundu engineers, would be in engineering, and in engineering also, if we are electronics guys, it'll be electronics. If we're software guys, it's software. If it's electronics and software, 2-people team, then we are okay. We are biomedical engineers, and we are also Fundu software guys. So we have that core strength. But then we don't know what is the PCB, how to get that done. We don't know the mechanical parts. We don't know the industrial design, look and feel, photography, packaging, innovation and IP. Yeah, we know a little bit, but we need to figure out. Research, talking to the users. Maybe if we are too intense in our focused engineering work, maybe we are not all the time talking to users. So maybe we don't have that skill set that we can go and talk to maybe 100, 200 people and do research. So we may be needing some consultant there. We may understand a little bit about tooling, but we may not have resources here locally, or we may be dependent on some local guys who may tell us something and then we are confused and so on. So what I'm saying is that wherever you are and whatever is your core skill set, that core skill set in this whole sheet will be somewhere, and it will be an overlap between 2-3 dots. And the rest of the dots, the rest of the gaps, but the story needs to be complete. So the rest of the gaps need to be filled in. What's the point here? The point here is that I have worked with startups where an electronics guy says that next 3 months I am going to learn SolidWorks now to just figure out how to do the mechanical detailing, because the inspiration is that I can do it. Okay, see, when you're studying, I can do it is a great inspiration to work. When you're running a business, what is important is that the best people in the field should do whatever they are best at. So whatever your core skill set is, you focus on that and you involve people who are the masters of what they do to fill up the gaps.
Yeah, that is true.
Okay, so now another way of looking the same thing is one is the technical aspect. So what the other part is the core process. So in the process, problem finding, fact finding. Who are these guys? Remember, tools all the time. Not okay, that's not okay, the fan is not, the seat is not okay, this is making too much noise, this is I don't like this doesn't make sense. That characters in every class there are. Keep your audios on so that we can talk, right? I don't know.
Yes, sir.
Right. So those long run, the market, your let's say go to 20, make what stupid product are companies making? Look, these are the problems that people are facing, right? Those are the guys who are problem finders. They will create a fuzzy situation all the time. Whatever you do, they will have a problem with that. They are brilliant in that, and you need them in the organization, because if you don't have them, you're too comfortable doing what you're doing, because nobody is finding any problems with what you're doing. But along with that, fact finding is extremely important. And the fact finding goes to understanding patterns, understanding competing products, understanding technology, a good understanding of what is the best technology today and what it can do. Because yes, it may be a problem. Yeah, every time you keep an iron on a piece of cloth, it will burn the cloth. But you can't help it, until unless you really use some new latest sensing technology where all kinds of sensors you put in, and then you say, okay, before burning the cloth, my electric iron will stop and suddenly it will cool down too much and so on. So that fact finding along with problem finding is the key for problem formulation, because there are a lot of problems that the problem finders will find that are solvable, and there would be some that are not solvable, also because they're not product problems, they are system related problems. Country poor hai, pani nahi hai, to kya karenge? It's a problem which is a systems related problem that we cannot solve. So whatever within the constraints of what is possible, we need to define the problem formulation. From the problem formulation, we do problem definition. So if any one of you is aware of Six Sigma, then what I'm talking about is CTQs, critical to quality features, where we have now defined what is the problem, but from that problem, now we are critically defining specific to the product, what should it do? So what sensor should I have? The plastic body should have what features, how much load it should take, what should be the drop test, from what height, if I'm designing a camera, from what height can it fall, what should it take, what should it not take, at what price point. So a detailed problem definition of what is expected from the problem, from the solution or service or product, or a combination of service and product, and UI, UX, and so on. And then we get into the idea finding stage, which is the solution formulation. Okay. Now, all of you are brilliant guys. All of you understand this pretty well. But I can guarantee you that most of you have jumped from 1 to 4.
Yeah, maybe.
Right? You found the problem, you realize we need to find a solution to this, and then straight away, this is the idea, and that is the idea, and this is how we're going to do it, and that's how we're going to do it. So the whole detailed analysis from a fact finding and problem definition perspective, we just miss. And it's not about you. Fortune 500 companies also miss that. That's why their products fail. So the second task that I'm giving you guys is, first you do that scoring. Second, do a -10 if you are not doing fact finding and problem definition properly. Do a -5 if you have done okay job, which means I have written, yeah, I have an Excel sheet, I have written some 5-10 points, but then we got into ideation, and then that list is lying somewhere, but we will see. We will see when we will go to the consumer. At that time, we will keep refining the list and all, or somebody will come and tell me what is to be done when they see the product, then I will refine that list and so on. And if you have not done that, if you're scoring yourself -10, just get to Six Sigma, understand CTQs, understand how to define that matrix, and just do that. Fill that 2 and 3 before you do 4. And even if you're doing 4, still fill up the gap. Fill up 2 and 3 properly, in depth, in detail, and trust me, your ideas will change. Okay. So now the type of people who are great at idea finding is conceptualization. Idea finding is creating ideas. Idea finding is also licensing ideas, which means finding other universities where what they are doing, and then talking to them and saying, okay, I'm developing this product, I can maybe add your method of making this surface coating into my product, and then we can have a combined product. So idea finding is, expanding the horizon, diverging as much as possible, along with redefining the problem again and again as and when you get more ideas, which means a combination of 3 and 4. And people who are very good at this, they are brilliant in coming up with ideas, but then they can spend years doing this. So some of you would be very good conceptualizers, and they are never done. So anytime a CEO of a company would come and ask them, "Bhai, where is the idea?" Yeah, sir, it's happening. It's at the back of my mind. It's going on. It's happening. Some more time, sir. Which is fair, but whosoever you are, you have to understand that that's your personality trait. You are never done. Okay, whatever you are doing, you are never done, because excellence is the criteria, and excellence in the image of God will never happen. So it means that the next part, which is 5 and 6, becomes extremely important. And if you are not the 5s and 6 types, then you need in your team somebody who is like 5 and 6, who will not have the ability to develop those 50 ideas that you are generating, or 50 ways of doing things, or 10 ways of doing things, but who has the ability to look at those 10 or 15 or 20 and say, boss, these two make sense. Let us make a plan, take it forward. Let us make the Gantt chart for complete detailed execution of this and focus on this and forget the remaining 49 or 48. Right? So that role is an optimizer's role. Now, some of you would be very good generators. That's why you have been able to start a business, because you identified a problem. And you have been ranting about that problem, and you have presented that problem to so many people that this is bullshit, this needs to improve, this needs to become better, this needs to change, we have a new technology, we have a new way of doing things, let's do this, and so on. Some of you have started the business because you are good conceptualizers, because you got an idea, and then you have some problem formulation also, but you got a brilliant idea, boss. You're kicked by the idea. Ye to karna hai. This is something that I want to do. I am a fundu conceptualizer. And many of you will also have an overlap with optimization. What is optimization? When I am getting an idea, immediately my left side of the brain says, this won't work. This doesn't make sense. That one makes sense. So the evaluation while ideating, though it's not a great idea, but the point is that if you are like that, then the optimizer bit in you is going to take you through the project, because you're not going to get stuck in the conceptualization phase, looking for excellence and looking for the best in the world in the image of God forever. Okay. So selection, and then making an execution plan of what is selected, because till the time you don't see from 1 to 5 or 1 to 4, you have multiple ideas. So you are in a fluid state. Okay. So you can't have a detailed Gantt chart from 1 to 4, because from 1 to 4, it's a lot of back and forth. It's a cyclical process. And then, I mean, you can have a Gantt chart, because this line item also becomes a part of the Gantt chart, but you can't define a precise time for that. But then once you have selected the idea and once you're taking it forward, then a detailed plan, an acceptance of the plan by the key people, people who are investing, people who are guiding, people who are mentoring, and yourself, or maybe your spouse, or maybe your whosoever is close to you. Their acceptance, which means the whole team now agrees to take it forward, and then act. And when I say act, it means in every cycle. So my first proof of concept will also go through this. My second proof of concept will also go through this cycle. If I need a third POC, my third POC will also go through that. Then my detailed engineering ke baad, my first prototype will go, my next 5 prototypes will go, my next 50 pilots will go. Everything will go through this process, because now I have an improved version of what I have done, and I'm again finding problems in that, and I'm again looking at the facts, and I'm seeing what is the latest technology, if I can change something, adopt something, improve something. I have now my redefined problem definition, and now my new ideas are this and this, and now the cycle may get completed in 2 days or 20 days or 2 months as we move forward, but you again keep going through iteratively through the cycle. And then at some point of time, the final action as an implementation is launch the product in the market, and then the cycle continues, because now your product is with the customer, and then your marketing guys are going to go and talk to the customer, and they are going to find problems with your existing product, or you yourself are going to talk to the customer and find your problems, and then again the cycle continues. So this is a never ending cycle. It's not a cycle, it's a spiral. So imagine it going in time as a spiral, and every iteration will go through this whole particular process. How successful you are in executing what you're executing depends how religiously, meticulously you are following this process. Any step you skip, you are in trouble. And what we skip is step number 2 and 3, and then 6 and 7. We love to find the problem, then we will jump to the idea. We will ourselves evaluate and say, boss, this is what I have to do. We will not worry about acceptance. We'll make a temporary plan, and then we'll get into action. Agreed?
Yes. Yeah.
Right. So get this, guys. Again, take a print, put it up in your room. Make sure that step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 all need equal weightage. Because I am strong at ideation, or I am strong at problem finding, or I am a fund-do planning guy, or evaluating guy, or execution guy, does not mean that the other parts don't have a meaning. But that's how we feel. So in a company, if you have a CEO, and if that is, the CEO is a very strong, heavy guy, so that whole orange bit would be his influence. So he would be an optimizer a little bit, and execution guy. He wants everything yesterday. Boss, the quarter is gone. You've not made anything. You've not sold anything. We have lost so many $1 million, which is notional money on the basis of if the product was launched and if it was doing great. Similarly, a conceptualizer, if it's a conceptualization heavy organization, then they're always lost in the dream world. They will be brilliant in their ideas. It's like a French company making a car called Fluence in 4.5 years versus a Japanese guy producing another car in 11 months. So an execution heavy company like a Japanese company will create a fund-do car, a mid-level car, everything balanced, total quality management, ensuring that it is neither a wow from form factor perspective nor a wow from look and feel internal comfort perspective, but it will be efficient. Quick execution, meeting one of the 3 pillars, faster, better, more. The French team will take 4 years, make a fund-do car, look and feel, wow, it will create waves. Till the time it doesn't create waves and every magazine doesn't print that particular product, they will not put it in the market. So their companies are driven by conceptualizers. The design head will have a lot more value than the execution head. Now, this is our company.
Sandy, just before you go there, a quick question. With the earlier slide and the last two, I'm trying to find out what the takeaway is. So it seems that it's quite linear, and there is this problem finding till taking it into action, and it seems to be like a model that's sort of fitting to, say, corporates or whoever has.
Just hold on. There is a third part to it. I'll come to that. Whatever you are coming to, this is part 2. Part 1 is over. Part 2 is getting over. There is a part 3.
Okay, I'll wait for it.
So just wait for that. Okay. So this is our organization. So if you actually look at it, there are people in all 4 quadrants. So if it's a 35-40 people team, some of the people have not given this test, but if it's a 40 people team, you have, kind of 7, 8, 9, 10 people in each of the quadrants. It's a balanced organization. If an organization has implementers and generators, and it's an implementer plus generator heavy organization, you will have a product launch very quickly, but it will not go through enough of conceptualization and optimization, which means that the products will have incremental improvement and still problems, like Windows. If the organization is conceptualizers plus optimizers heavy, you will have a product launch, for example, iOS, after a year, 2 years, but it will be stable. But it will not accommodate a lot of other softwares and applications, and then they will not allow you to do anything. So it's a business philosophy. You want to be a generator conceptualization heavy organization, it doesn't make sense, because if you don't have optimizers and implementers, product banega hi nahi. You won't be able to make it and sell it. But there are organizations which are top heavy, and there are organizations that are bottom heavy. They all execute, and their philosophies are different. So looking at your product category, looking at who you are, because you are the CEO of your company, right? You are the key person for now for your company. It may change after the second round of funding. More than 50% CEOs are fired after second, third round of funding. But till then, you are the key guy. And if you are a great conceptualizer, your organization is going to be conceptualizer, optimizer heavy. If you're a great implementer, it's going to be a generator implementer heavy. But the point of this slide is ensure that you fill up all the gaps. Ensure that in this circle, even if there is an implementer heaviness or a conceptualizer heaviness, the rest of the areas are also there. There are enough people in generators and optimizers also, so that the process is complete. And this process is also complete, because those individual people have these skill sets, and these skill sets are required for execution. Okay. Okay. So now part 3. Part 3 is I have to do, and I have 2 main questions. What is to be done and how to do it, right? So the clear definition of what is to be done is coming from here. So my problem finding, fact finding, problem definition, idea finding, and evaluation, once that has happened, and once I do this thoroughly and properly, okay, what is there? Now the question is how to do it. And both these things and the amount of vagueness in these 2 things start to define how much time this is going to take, and my milestones are what. So for example, when Hitler told one of his key guys to make something that can take an atom bomb and drop it on Japan, the guy said, okay, give me money, give me resources. And Hitler said, everything that is here is all yours. Use my BMWs, use all factories that I have and make something. So after 5 years, when Hitler went back and asked, Bhai, where are you? What happened? His response was that on the basis of my numbers are wrong, but they are approximate. On the basis of some 5,600 something experiments that I have already done and failed, okay, I have realized that I need another 1,500 experiments to be done before I can make the missile that will take your bomb and drop it wherever 3,000 kilometers away. So his core skill set over iterations had become in terms of defining how many iterations are required to reach a plausible solution. So milestones is those individual steps where you stop, you look back, and on the basis of whatever number of iterations you have done, you define how many more iterations I need to reach this particular solution, or before my launch, or before my pilots. And even after pilots, how many pilots I need to do before I get certification, how many certifications I need along with how many pilots, and feedback from people that I get an FDA, and so on. And if I know exactly how it is to be done, I have a fair idea of how much time each of these iterations is going to take. So that whole circle that we are talking about, I would know how much time individually for each iteration. Okay. So all of you are solving a problem. And this is the third matrix that you have to understand. If you are solving a problem where you know exactly what is to be done and you know exactly how to do it, Life is simple. Both are ticks. You are A. What does it mean? It means it's easy to do. It means it's easy to copy. It means it's easy to rebuild that business model. It means if you are successful, as and when you are successful, there will be other companies that will crop up and start copying what you're doing. With a difference, bypassing the patents with some new technology, with some new way of doing things, depending upon how capable they are in bypassing patents or how capable they are in coming up with new and innovative ideas to achieve the same thing. B, if you know exactly what needs to be done, but there is some confusion how to do it. Okay, there is some gap. You know, the process is not clearly understood. And by the way, it's not lack of understanding because you're not aware. So if I'm explaining to you the whole process, assuming that this process is understood, but the actual process of execution in terms of technical execution or mechanical execution, or there is some intellectual input that is required, and so on. So keeping all that in mind, if that is a question mark where the process of how to do it is not clear, you are in category B. And I am going to give you examples of A, B, C, D, E, all. Just hold on, just stay with me. C is where you know the process. You know the process that if I have to make a breakfast cereal for Kellogg for South India, all what I need to do is go to maybe 1000 South Indian homes. First of all, understand what are the breakfast cereals they use. After that, I have to categorize some of them as to which are preservable, and then I have to do some analysis in terms of with preservatives, how how long they stay. Then I have to understand after 1 month, 2 months, if you eat it, is it good or not? Is it eatable or not? How much is the deterioration in quality, taste, and so on? People would be accepting that. So I know the whole 9 yards in terms of the process as to how I am going to reach that cereal, but I don't know what that cereal is. I will have to experiment with upma also, and with poha also, and with basically bhat also, and with everything before I can define what that C ka what is. And then I will go and give the solution to Kellogg and say, okay, I'm done. And then D is where I am confused about what is the final outcome, and I have no clue about how to do it. So let's say if somebody comes and tells you, you have your wash basin and you have your bathing tub. Create a device that, like you have the floor moppers, which will go on the whole complex surface all over in the wash basin also and in your bathing tub also, and will clean each nook and corner, the whole complex organic surface. Now it can be a small helicopter type thing floating inside the room, which has a brush and it goes up and down XYZ coordinate. It can be something that is stuck to the floor and like a leech, it is climbing. And so now I am in a space where I don't know what the damn thing is. And since I don't know what the damn thing is, I have no clue of how to do it also. And even if I have some ideas of what the damn thing can be, how to do it is a big thing. That is where, but here I still have some idea. Okay, as soon as I say the problem, something will come to your mind. Aisa kuch we can do. And then invent is where I am purely experimental. I don't know what, I don't know how, and I don't know when will it happen. Zero time idea. So A is the smallest possible time. So for example, if we are doing a biometric device, it will take us 40 to 50 days to design a product from scratch to end, and we can have a prototype in another 10, 15 days, 2 months, all done, A finished. But what does that mean? That means that that company for whom we have designed that product A needs to make another product A type within 1.5 years, because in 2 years, there are enough copycats who are going to come in. That product is going to die. It's going to become obsolete. And because it's so simple to do, other people also would understand how to do it. So your lifespan is 1 to 2 years. So then you have to be a company that's constantly innovating. Every 6 months, you're having a new project started. Every 1.5 years, you have new product launched, and you're keeping the company alive by doing that. Okay. So let me give you an example. So here is a company called InventIndia. It's a Canadian company. Everything that is there on their website is designed, developed, and manufactured by us. So, but they are a company like that. They don't want to do any IP. They say that our business model is make new products, make them fast, launch them in the market, stay ahead of all competition. They are like the Apple of biometric industry. So this is a product that we did in 2012-13, which is now, it is still there on the website.
Sandy, sorry, Sandy, you'll have to swap the screen. I think we are not able to see InventIndia.
I shared the whole screen.
We are still, I don't know, at least on my screen, I can still see the old slide. Solve problem.
Slides only.
How do I share my whole desktop?
No, you can share only the application, one particular application at a time.
Yeah, you'll have to close the sharing and again reshare it.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you see now?
Yeah. We can. Yes, we can see it.
Okay. So now what you're seeing is IXM Micro, designed in 2012 and became obsolete in 2015-16. And so that's why the new, you see a lot of twos, touch two, sense two, merge two. What does it mean? It means that touch one was there, merge one was there, and they all have become two. So in the last 6-7 years, there are additional features that are getting added in this whole product range. And because of the additional camera and the additional touch screen, now this has become touch 2. Okay, so this company over a period of 7 years has one new range, which is touch 2, sense 2 as a new range, merge 2 as a new range, and IXM Titan. There is Titan, and the first product is IXM Titan, which means almost 9-10 products they have introduced in the last 7-8 years. Okay, so coming back means I'll have to switch back again. This is funny, but it's okay. I have so many windows open now. I've lost the window.
Sandy, may I know what is the innovation in this?
No innovation.
No innovation. No.
That's what I'm saying. I know what is to be done. I know how to do it. It means that it's a native product. It means it is, what is the innovation? The innovation is the web portal. It is an Android-based product. Now you can, with your mobile phone, just give a fingerprint and all, and you don't need that whole mess of having a server and connectivity and so on. It becomes
I just see, all the products are, it is just assembled and they have given a new outlook. Sure.
No, that is not the case with Titan. If you look at IXM Titan, there is no product like that exists on the planet. That's called the Apple of biometric industry.
Okay.
So that's the first innovative product, but that they did after 6 years of being in business, because they are that type of a company. The CEO's intent is that he wants to proceed in that particular fashion because that is what he knows, that is what he has learned, that is what he understands. That has been his experience of 20 years of being in the market. So are you able to see the screen now? Are we back on the PPT?
Yes.
Yeah, yes.
Okay. So that was an example for A. And I will show you an example for D, and I'll show you an example for B and C and so on. Just the switching is a pain because I have a lot of windows open. So new share. I think I'll come back here, and from here on here. Okay. So this is a B category product. Okay. This is called Arduino Cura Laser. So these guys came to us and said, look, I need a handheld pain management device. Okay. And so they were 2 doctors. So we, along with them, did a survey with a lot of doctors and basically started creating different elements. So it's basically a laser plus electric impulse combination for pain management. So we created a lot of different heads. We created a lot of different types of electrodes. We play around with electronics quite a bit also to, optimize all this. And then the whole point was that on the back, you may have a small point that you need to give focus therapy. And then you also need to cover the whole back. So we were making all these different heads, one big head, so that can cover, because at present it takes about 40-45 minutes for you to do this whole therapy on the back. So in parallel, we were doing this technology innovation, and in parallel, we were doing the form factors as to how the grip should be. And we made some 20-30 mock-ups like these. And then we again went to hospitals and tested with a few technicians, not hospitals, in individual clinics, and did a lot of testing. And then eventually finalized on a form factor where it's patent pending, double head, one big side head, one small side head. You can flip, the whole display flips, and then it's the same electronic, same battery that gives power, divergent power here, convergent power here, and a huge electrical impulse generating mechanism here, and so on. Okay.
So basically, they know what they wanted, but they do not know how to do it.
No, they did not know this.
They were clear. They were clear about what they want.
They were clear that we want a pain management device. But
Okay.
what innovation can be done in this, that is our job, that as a consultant to figure out.
Okay.
They would have been happy with a Me Too product, which would have been the A category product, which was something similar to some German product which they had got. So this particular example, this particular sample that is lying here, this one is a German product. This is one small head.
Basically, they have come up with the benchmark product as well.
Yeah, and they said, "Ke aisa kuch banao." So then we said, okay, let us see what innovation we can do. So after talking to a lot of technicians who basically do this, we realized that we recorded the whole process, and we saw that it's 45 minutes it takes for one guy to cover one full back. So we said, if you have to bring this down to half, what do we do? 100% reduction in time. What can we do? So that's when we came up with this solution, that it should be a double-headed thing. This head should be at least 4 times bigger than this, so that we reduce the time to half, at least half. That's what we claim.
Okay.
Okay. So
So
this whole is the gray area space. Here, it's an iterative process. We don't even know whether we should be just putting one head and putting different clips on top of that, or we should make 2. So you make mock-ups, and you do research, then you again go back to the consumers and then show them the ones which are clipping on, and then show them one single one with 2. Then eventually people said, yeah, it makes sense to make one with 2, and maybe the third one is not required. So we should not get into the complexity of putting 3 heads onto one head.
Okay. So basically, the benchmark product which has been given to you is a monopoly.
Yes. That's
okay.
a monopoly.
Then, okay. So that's what my previous question was.
Yeah.
So when you have a monopoly product, so customers wants to have more choices.
Absolutely. So that is what you do. But then you have to look at their patent. You have to look at all competing 5 patents. Then you have to, after that study, come up with ideas, and then on the basis of those ideas, come up with that idea which you think is patentable at that point of time, because you still don't know, because a lot of patents are not published. The last 1 year patents are not published, right? You can only see what is already published.
Yeah. So when we do this IP work, then the second and third point will be covered, and
Yes.
the fact finding and your problem definition.
Problem
so
definition,
when we, both will be covered when we do the IP search properly.
And also product search. So buy everything that is existing, open it, rip it apart, so that your starting point is what is existing. Otherwise, you are rediscovering the wheel. There is no point of rediscovering, reinventing the wheel.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
Right. So then we get into the detailed engineering and so on, and then tooling, production, get it done, and so on. And then also, along with that, branding of the product, and then packaging, essentially putting everything together for them. So at present, the plastic parts are tooled in China, made in China. PCBA is being designed made by Ingtron in Baroda. The packaging is coming from another vendor. These tubes are coming again in India from Ahmedabad from another vendor. The charger is coming from China, and we just get it branded. The wire is also coming from China. And then we are assembling the whole thing and giving it to the customer. They would be launching this product most probably next month. This whole COVID thing has screwed up the whole thing. We were supposed to launch maybe in the beginning of the year. Okay, so since similarly, I mean, this is BTL Flexi. This is the smallest ECG product in the world. It's a wireless ECG product. So typically, you get into initial brainstorming, conceptualizing, you make a lot of mock-ups, big size, small size, and so on. And the core innovation here is actually the technology, because making such compacting was not easy. So it's a lot of back and forth between the connector sizes, the internal technology, the PCBA. Having a 12 channel on that particular size was an issue, and so on. And then so this is our web page, and you can just browse through a lot of projects here if you're interested, and so on. Okay.
Just out of curiosity, so on this case B, so now we are discussing on case B. So how many design iterations did you go on?
So this took about 1 year, and we did about 3 iterations at the POC level. First time, what we made was very sleek and nice, but the electronics and the battery, when we fitted in, there were some issues. The next time we made, and then when the POC came, the prototype, people said it's uncomfortable, it's become too big. Then in tooling, we made something which was intermediary size. Then the tool parts had other problems. There were sink marks on top somewhere because of the snaps inside, it was opening up, and so on. So that took another 2-3 iterations. So 2-3 iterations happened in the tooling phase, just to optimize the whole covers, because it's a very thin part and a very compact part. And 2-3 iterations happened at the POC level.
Okay, how big was the team size?
We are a 40 people team. We define the team for every project. So the 2-3 electronics guys, and maybe in the initial stage industrial design team, we have 7-8 people. So everybody works on ID. And then once the concept is finalized with the customer, then once the selected concept is to be done, then 1 ID guy, maybe 2 mechanical guys would work. So essentially 1 ID guy all the time, 7-8 ID guys in the beginning first month, 2 mechanical engineers working on and off, depending upon, because once you release for prototyping, again, you're not doing that work for 20-30 days by the time the prototype comes, and so on. And 2-3 electronics guys, 1 firmware guy. Again, we have a team of firmware guys. They sit together and work when some problem is there, and so on. So that's how it comes. Then essentially 1 sourcing guy, and all the product development guys also would get the packaging done. They will do the CAD for that, and then get the thing made from the vendors, and so on. So it's an overlap. It's a mix and match of a lot of different team members. And that's what I was saying, that to complete the whole cycle, you need a lot of different skill sets to put this whole thing together. And you or your team of 2-3 people, 5 people, whatever number of team you have, is going to be focused on 1 skill set, and the remaining skill sets, you need to find the best people around you, involve them, pay them, consult with them, and get things done. Only then you can reach a product like this. And we have not also reached here immediately. We started as a company which was providing design services up to prototyping. Then we extended manufacturing. Then the same guys came to us and said, boss, हमको naming भी करना है, we need packaging and graphics also. And then we were working with some external consultants, and then we realized that the amount of time that we spend explaining them things, it is better to make your own CAD animations and make your own renders, because we know exactly what is the innovation and how to explore the view and show, and so on. So for example, I mean, there is the explorer.
So now you do whole turnkey products.
Yeah, now we do whole turnkey projects, and now we're building the marketing base also. We're adding team members. We're just building the skill set to ensure that the whole cycle is completed, and we have control of that. Now, if we are doing software, we still go outside. So we do the UI UX, and then we hire people or companies outside, either resources or companies to do the detailed work. Because again, if we are doing a rugged mobile phone, which is intrinsically safe with triple safety, and high-end batteries need to be produced with, again, triple safety and so on, then again we go to InfoChips or other partners that we have for electronics and so on. So, but up to this level product, any IoT level product, basic embedded work we can do in-house.
Okay. So do we have another case for D? I mean case D.
Yes, I'm showing you.
Yeah, please.
So abhi case C aayega pehle.
Case C.
Okay. So this is a very simple problem. Just look at the video. Okay, simple product, make a spoon flat, a measuring spoon flat. And you have 2 tablespoons, 1 tablespoon, half a tablespoon, and you can just fold the product and show. And I have the production piece lying with me, and I will show you maybe at the end of the project, or at the end of this conversation. Okay. Now, if you look at it, it looks very easy. It looks very simple. But it took us approximately 2.5 years to get this manufactured. Why? Because how to make these live hinges work with an elastomer coating and also have it stiff and also have it flexible, and also it should stick in those 3. So it has now approximately 19 plastic parts. It has 16 magnets, and it has an elastomer covering on both sides. And to develop this has gone through 8 tooling iterations. Conceptually, very simple what you see. But if you have to make a tool to make it happen, so on top of this, if there is a 0.3 mm layer of the elastomer, it becomes too fragile, it starts to tear. If there is 0.5 mm layer of the elastomer, it becomes too stiff and it tends to open itself, and the magnetic properties are not strong enough to hold it with the strongest magnets that can bear up to 150 degrees centigrade temperature and everything food grade. And if you have to achieve 0.4 mm, then you have to make the 3rd tool. So every time you have to do tooling, because in no prototyping you can make a 0.3 mm layer of any elastomer like silicone. So that's a prototyping limitation. So if you're making something which is deep, which is thin, which is high tech, which is beyond the purview of conventional prototyping methodologies, okay, then you have an additional barrier, because now every iteration is a tooling iteration and a huge cost. Now here we were lucky that because we had $1 million that had come out of this particular campaign, so we could spend about 150K just for tooling in those 7-8 iterations. But if it had to be done without the campaign, it's just not happening. Who's going to fund you 500K or $1 million as an investor for a product like this? If I show you this product, the investor appetite is not there for this product. Now this product is also a partial fad and partial trend product. You will like it when you see it, you will have it, you will enjoy it, and after 2 years the life of this product is over. It may still sell a little bit, but it will not have a boost. So in this vertical, we are coming up with a new range of products using the same folding principle, which is like folding bowls and a folding mouse and a few other products, which are a folding speaker that falls flat and so on. Because now we have evolved this whole technology in terms of how to manufacture this kind of products. Okay.
For which country this product has been designed?
This is designed for everybody, but if you're looking at $12, people are buying it in US and Europe. In India, nobody will buy it at that price point. So maybe after that, once you cater to that market, you produce a cheaper version and then you sell it here that is at a decent price point for this market.
Sir, I have a doubt. Because this product was released on Kickstarter before it actually entered mass production.
Yes.
How did the parent company take care of the IP protection? Because you are putting out your idea in the open, so there
IP
is a
was
risk.
filed. This is patent granted in the US, so nobody can make and sell in the US.
Okay.
US is 35-40% of the global market. So this particular guy does not care about other markets. If he's able to cater to the US market itself, it's a $40-50 million game for this particular product, which is pretty decent.
So he did the IP filing before he made the Kickstarter campaign, before he started the Kickstarter campaign?
The IP was filed after that. US you can showcase the product, and within 11 months also you can file the IP. So earlier, the law has changed now, but earlier the law was that it is the guy who claims to be the inventor first, not the guy who files the patent first. Now they have changed it to guy who files it first.
Okay.
In the recent times, so only US allows you to file a patent for a product, even if it is public. As long as you can prove that it's your invention, as long as you can start from the first sketch and show the whole development process and prove it that it's all yours, you will get an IP.
But in India, the case is still that the person who invents it first is the rightful owner.
Yeah, correct, correct. So, I mean, if you want to copy and make it in India, you can do that. Anybody can do that. Anybody can do that in China. Anybody can, and that will happen once this product is launched and it starts to sell well. That will happen. A lot of cheap copies will come. But again, the problem there is that making 19 different parts, making a mold to place each and every part, and then adding magnets to that, and then doing this, it's not an easy job. Even if you have to do it, it's a lot of time and effort and skill. And the guys who are doing it are among the best in the silicon field industry in China.
Right.
So it's not like anybody, the roadside guy, will just start a factory and machine and make it.
Right. Right.
So now I will come to the fourth category. So this is a product which actually is responsible for Invent India's birth. Okay, so when I was not married, I used to work for GE Healthcare, and I was a workaholic. So I would come back home at 10:30, 11:30, 12 at night. And I would just want to quickly cook something and eat and sleep. So what I used to do was I would take the vegetables and put them in the microwave, and in parallel with some water, keep them cooking there for some 10-15 minutes. And in those 10-15 minutes, I will cut my onions and I will make my curry. And then I will take those vegetables from there and mix and eat. I was in Bangalore at that time, and I have a flat in ITPL. That is where I used to live. And then I waited for 4 or 5 years thinking that somebody must be making a product like that. It is common sense. Everybody has made a microwave which is just for reheating as far as Asian application is concerned. It may do all the grilling, cooking and all for the US perspective, but if I have to make a curry, I can't make it in that. So I went to GE Appliances and I requested them that, sir, this is a possible product, should we do it and so on. I couldn't convince them. And then finally, after all my jobs for 18 years, I decided that no, I need to make some products on my own. Okay. And that's when I filed for a patent for this. So when Invent India started, that's when I filed for a patent for this particular product. I got the first patent granted in 2016. And everybody at that time in India, because our ecosystem is like that, was like, this is too disruptive. How will metal work with the microwaves? Metal doesn't work in a microwave. So this is all bullshit idea. This won't work and so on. Okay. So what this does is it simultaneously cooks with flame and the microwaves come from the lid. It means that you use 70% time. I can make rice in 5 minutes. Rice in 5 minutes in open flame with the lid with microwaves working from top. We save 40% energy approximately, 30 to 40% depending upon what you're cooking. And your taste and texture is better because you're cooking for a shorter span of time. Water soluble nutrients are not lost. If you're cooking, so you make your masala, you make your curry, you put your vegetables, you mix, and you're done. It also occupies lesser space. This whole rectangular space is not required. You just need a round space. Eventually, this is the size of the bowl, and these are the ingredients, right? Why do you need this whole huge box? So when you come to this particular design, all what you have is a spherical surface. Don't look at the lines, green lines. They are not just showing the light reflections. They are just to show, for an investor to understand communication. But essentially, you have multiple internal reflections to make sure that in this particular space, you have microwaves as evenly distributed as possible. And all the drawbacks of microwaves in terms of cold and hot spots because of the flame, this heat follows the shortest possible path and fills up all the gaps. And anyway, because of the spherical shape, the internal reflections are far more than what you have in a rectangular box. So now here, I will again go back to the presentation and let me see how to do that. Where was the... Too many windows open. Okay, this is the... Okay. Guys, can you see the presentation back?
Yes.
Okay. So here is this. Because at that stage, I had no clue what the final product would be. And I will show you what that means. And I had no clue how I'm going to reach there. But I knew that that is a feasible idea. That's why we filed the patent in 2010-11. And then we got it, when we got it granted in 2016, we went full flow and we started developing. This has gone through 9 generations of prototypes. And let me show. Abhi, can you see the On2Cook presentation?
No, sir.
No.
You see the same presentation? Achha,
Yes.
okay. Then I will go down. So this was the first prototype. So when you say a proof of concept and when you say jugaad, this is what I did. The whole electronics, the magnetron and the transformer and electronics is in this top lid. And that is Jyoti. And this is like 7.5 kgs. And then you could cook with this. You could cook with this simultaneously with flame and that. So that was the first proof of concept that I made. Complete jugaad, doing nothing. This whole hole and the cutout also is, everything is basically an existing microwave reconfigured into this particular shape. Okay. And then it became this, and then it became this, and eventually it became this. And this is the 7th or 8th iteration. Up till now, we were just working on a product where you have an induction plate or a flame cooking separate, so that you can use something that is already existing. And we were trying to make a lid and a system where you could just put another pan which is custom for this, and then you can combine the two and do it. And then we realized that perhaps no, you have to make a product that is independent. And so if you look at this, there are a lot of, these are other iterations. This one is another prototype. This one is another prototype. This one is another one here. There are a lot of prototypes which are there lying in our studio. And then from there, we moved to eventually making this, because we realized that safety certification is a big concern. And if you want a product to be certified, you need to have the top and bottom integrated in a way where the choke, which is there here for the waves, to not go out, like you have the choke in your door of the microwaves, which covers the lid, which covers the container. They need to be integral, and they need to be the integral part of the product with 2 safety latches, as you have the safety in a microwave. You see that there are 2 plastic hooks that go in and they press a button, and only when those 2 buttons are pressed, the double safety is that when the microwave will switch on in the container, so that microwave leakage is not there. So again, when certification comes in and when you go through all the certification standards, you realize that you cannot make a split product. You have to have one integral product in which the base pan is located precisely in one particular location. And when you put the lid on, at that time, you have safety from the perspective of microwave leakage. And I have spent almost 1.5 years just looking at the certification requirements and ensuring that there is no microwave leakage. Even in the worst case scenario, if the pan is teared out, what do you do? How do you? And we have filed, I think, 3 CIP applications, and we will be filing 2 more product applications for this. So we have 2 patent applications granted in US and UK. The 3rd one is at present waiting, and 2 more applications will file. And eventually, by the time this whole product is complete in all its versions and ranges, it's possible that I will spend up almost 1 crore of rupees just in filing different patents in different countries. If I'm covering 30 different countries, which is basically the European Union, China, Japan, and North America. And of course, India.
So basically, after getting into the product development, you got to know more about the certifications and the norms which are involved in it.
So certification standards, the problem is that there are no certification standards for a combination product like this.
Okay.
So we were looking at certification standards for microwaves independently, and for flame-based products independently, and for induction-based products independently. So now when we are talking to UL, we are making a set of guidelines for certification that we are going to give to UL, get them approved, and that will become the standard for a product like this, because they are not the experts. We are the experts. We know what is happening as far as technology or microwave restrictions are concerned. So we have to define that. Their experts will look into it, and that is how the product certification standard for this product will be made, and then the product will get certified.
And here in this stage, I would like to emphasize something, because as innovators, we all are here innovators, and when we do some new innovative products, we do not know whom to approach to get the certifications, or we have the fear when we approach them, we need to pay them first for the certifications, or would they get a business by our product to set a standard, to set up a standard. So in the initial stages, we come across these kind of situations as well.
So certification is something where you have to just hire the best consultants on the planet who have gotten hundreds or thousands of products certified. You know, don't go certifying authorities. You know, we gave the requirements for these products to the TUV lab in Bangalore 6 months back. We don't have a response. They are talking to TUV Rhineland, they're talking to Germany, they will get back to you, and so on. And that whole bullshit is going on. So now we have a consultant in US who has gone through the process of certifying new products for which certification does not exist. So basically sit on LinkedIn, find out people who are the best people in a consulting role. Again, as I told you, do what you're at best at. Don't try to take up all the roles. Okay, if you have to run a successful business, you have to do what you're best at, and you have to find people who are best at what they do. Bring them as a part of your team. When you're doing your budget allocation, keep that money. Okay, so I need to again shift.
Yeah.
This is it. So let me show you another C category product where we knew what is to be done, how to do it we knew, but we did not know what is to be done. So a customer came to us and said, look guys, make a universal power bank that should accommodate every damn phone, but it should stick to the phone. So now we don't know what the final product would be. So we initially created a lot of product ideas where it is a stretchable cover which could fit onto the phone, which could stretch and accommodate a big phone and a small phone, and so on, so that that power bank is attached to many phones. We created a prototype that failed. We created the second prototype that also failed. The customer was very, very put off because you know, they spent money. Each prototype costed some 1.5 lakhs and so on, and then it all failed. But then eventually, after 3, 4, 5 iterations and scrapping complete product ideas, we came up with this. When we actually came across this method of charging, do you know that these small connectors are available that can be inserted into the phone, and then you have a wire that it gets detached, which is connected magnetically? Have you seen those wires? Just have a look at this video. Are you able to see the screen, right? You're able to see consumer electronics page.
Yeah, please put it on full screen mode.
Yeah, sure. Right, so I'm just going to play this again. Sorry. So what you're seeing is a small connector here, which we are first inserting into the mobile phone at the back. Then when it goes in, even if your mobile phone has a cover, this side expands both ways, outwards also and upwards also, to accommodate even a 15 mm thick phone. And then this particular connector magnetically gets connected here, and this negative female connector goes up and down inside, and the connection is established. Okay, so this is the product, and here in this top portion you can remove this lid and you can put your iPhone or you can put your Apple connector, and this becomes a universal product for most mobile phones. Still there are some phones which it cannot accommodate, but it can accommodate most of the mobile phones. The ones that do not have the pin in the center, some have on the side here. You remember the Blackberries, they had it on the side here. Some phones have on top also, but now more and more phones are becoming standard where this is at the bottom. So, but it covers 80-90% of the phones. So in this particular case, this was C category. we knew the process. We knew that we have to make iterations and prototypes around a particular phone to have a universal something that sticks onto every phone. But in the beginning, we did not know that we can have a connector with a magnetic wire cable, which, so basically the wire could be split and we could attach the connector to the phone itself. We did not know. So what the final product would be, we did not know at that time. So coming back, okay, can you see the screen back here? Can you see Converge?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So again, what is the innovation here? The innovation is that you can draw 2 kilowatts of electric powers. You can draw 6 to 8,000 BTUs of flame from the flame, because this is ISI regulated. This is also controlled by regulation. And only when you convert is that you can have approximately 2.5 times the energy in a container that will allow you to cook 3 times faster. Every product that today you use, whether it's an electric product or a fire-based product, will have its own limitations because that's the maximum power it can give. So what will give you 8,000, the flame you get 1,000 BTUs, some big still 2.5. Okay, here what most critical, you something that means you do something again for getting application done to make the product D. Then could be, or it's an overlap between D and D. So A, smallest possible time to produce, low cost, business demands, quick turnaround. B and C are a decent space to be in. If you are as simple as A, you will have too many people copying your product and you may not be able to differentiate yourself in a big way. B and C will demand moderate amount of effort, and many startups are in this particular space. Some are in D space. That's a longer journey. That's a more time consuming, more costly journey, but then the results are also proportional. You can make up an immediate B, 3 to 6 months. C, the first 6 months, then eventually again after 3 months you can have the product, maybe a year to 18 months. 3 to 5 years. So in you are knowing that this thing is you're faster, significantly faster. Your quality is better. Your food quality is better because you're not boiling and you're retaining nutrients and you get more because you're consuming less power. So if you're saving 30 to 40% power, you are maybe at 3 in power saving. Quality of food is better. It is significantly better in comparison to Indian food, but in European American food, it may be a little better. So it is again a 3 in improvement from that perspective. But if you say faster, it's a 9. 265 pitches over 2-3 different tranches. Okay, so you do something which is and that also the bigger tranche happened because they created Titan, which was not in category A, which was more in category B and C, and there is no product like that exists. So whatever your business is, you have to be very clear. You have to understand where you are. Okay. So to summarize, first of all, you have to first understand and judge clearly what is you are not. You are maybe this, and this, and rest you are not. So you have to take this chart, tick what you are, and cross what you are not, and find appropriate resources to fill up the gaps. Don't try and do it yourself. You have to, if you want to create the best product, you have to have the best people working with you. May not be in your team, maybe as consultants, but with you. Second, ensure that at least one of these three is 9. Otherwise, if you have a better bike which runs, let's say 10-15 kilometers extra because of the new engine or some efficiency that you've built in, that's a good product to license to Hero, but nobody is going to buy a new bike because it is 10% more fuel efficient from you, because you have to establish everything else, basically. The whole manufacturing system, the whole service system, reliability, branding, cost, all that has to still be done. So if it's incremental, in high probability, whatever you are creating, you may be able to license it to a big player for whom that 10% incremental is a big enough differentiation in comparison to a Kawasaki or TVS. But to create a new venture, you have to be 9 on at least one of the 3. On IP, you have to have something, man. If it's just FTO, then you have to have something really significantly fast in terms of you doing it and launching it, that it becomes a very successful product. And you have to be a marketeer where you're creating more and more products without IP and taking it forward. You have to ensure that you follow the process, fill up the gaps. I know 2 and 3 is a gap. I know 6 and 7 is a gap. Both these are big gaps in most startups. Until and unless you are from a background which is hardcore implementer and planner. But then there are other gaps. So ensure that you have a team which is balanced. Some of the members would be a part of your integral team who are working with you, and the rest need to be consultant. But you need to create a balance among these so that the cycle for this is completed in every cycle that you generate. And then what problem you are solving, on the basis of that, you have to define your overall strategy. If you are in A, you have to be fast in business. If you are D, you have to be meticulous, planned, inventive, filing patents, patient, arranging a lot of funding for deep tech, surviving for 5 years and so on, and then reap the fruits for another 20 years. Make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I will give you some examples of some failures. Okay, look at this video. Sorry. So sorry, I wanted to pause that. So the prototype that you saw here, okay, this was a hack. This was a hack using Samsung Gear 2. So what we did, we ripped apart the Samsung Gear 2 display and we integrated that into this strap. And this inventor, great inventor from Sam Yang, is known as Sam Yang, a San Francisco-based startup, collected about 1.6 million in funding for developing this product and another product that we developed before this for him. The whole idea being that you retain your Rolex watch and put all the technology in the strap. Why should you change your watch? I mean, You got married, you got this gift of 20 lakhs worth of watch. Why should it be lying? You know, you just have the band, and in the band should be able to do everything. Today you have flexible PCBs, you have flexible displays, you should be able to do everything. Just look through the video. Okay, so we had chargers, and before this we did another product for them, which was a TOLED display with the PCB in a normal mechanical watch. So that is this particular video. I'll just show you a small glimpse of it. So essentially, what you saw was a mechanical watch which is automatic, and then on top of that there was this display that you're seeing, which is 60% transparent, and then this PCB that was developed, and then we developed the casing and we got the thing manufactured from Hong Kong. Again, there was a big complexity because generally people who are used to of making the mechanical watches, they don't understand electronics, and the guys who understand electronics, they don't understand how to manage metal, and you know, something would just go off because of static and so on, and even making it waterproof was a big pain after that. So this product did very well. We launched that in Basel in Switzerland in the luxury show, and we made first 3,000 watches. I think we made another 3,000 watches and so on, and sold well the customer. And then when we came down to this one, despite having a good amount of funding, when Sam went back to Samsung and said, look, I need this new curved display for the side of the hand, which is different in curvature from your current product, which is Samsung Gear 2, because the curvature required on the side is more, you know, it's the side. Here, the curvature is less, here the curvature is more. He got a quote of $3 million. At 1.6, what he had collected, and of which also quite a bit that he had already spent, there was no scope of arranging for $3 million. And then he got another quote from another company for 1.4, but the product did not move forward. This video is, I think, 3 years old, 3 or 4 years old. The product could not move forward because a startup just got a surprise of their life. $3 million for developing a curved display for a product like this. He has the patents. He has the patents with him. Nobody else can make the product, but he also cannot make the product because you need 3 million for this, plus another 2 to 3 million for manufacturing the product, selling the product, distribution, marketing, and so on. And that is again something that I wanted to show you because you need to have a decent idea of what you're getting into.
Sandy, do you want to, once you finish, we can open the floor for a few questions.
Yeah, I have 2 more points.
Yeah, that's what we could open it out to questions from the participants. If you have questions, just unmute and go ahead.
I'm sure they would be having a lot of questions, but just give me 1 second. Let me show this.
Sure.
Okay, so this slide I am showing you just so that you have an idea that for a small variable like that, if you have to make 5,000 pieces, you're looking at $1 million for the first product make. Okay, so you guys need to be very clear in your mind that if your product is not innovative enough, it is not easy to generate a $1 million funding or a $2 million or a $5 million funding. Okay, but a simple product like this also, if it really needs to be in the right form factor, in the right way, made, this is the cost. This is just directly approximately $1 million to make 5,000 pieces. You would need another 1 to 2 million. Consider that your manufacturing cost would be anywhere between 25 to 30% of your overall budget, including marketing, sales, establishing all distribution functions, and so on. Okay, so having a Me Too product and then expecting somebody to invest that kind of money, there is a question mark. So if you are in the A, B, C, D category, in A, your product also has to be low cost so that you can mass produce quickly and make money, and then in the next generation make B or C category product like Invictium did, where they made quick money using the first range of products and then further develop products like Titan, where now they are the Apple of biometric industry and the top-notch company in that particular space. Absolutely top-notch. So either that is the path, or the path is get into an on-to-cook track, have patience, spend a lot of time and effort, spend 5 years, go through 7, 8, 9 iterations of the product, get the damn certification done, bring the product, and then you enjoy for the next 10, 15, 20 years till the time your patents survive. And even after that, once you have the first movers advantage, and if you're there for 10 years and nobody else is there, like, you establish a brand that's a global brand. You guys get what I'm saying? Okay, so that's in summary. So process is extremely important, team is extremely important, and the right mindset is extremely important, along with a decent understanding of the overall costs that you're going to incur. And my last concluding statement: what do you think is the key to success for any startup? There is only one key to success. Once all these things are right, don't let go. Ventures that have wonderful products that fail only fail because at some point of time they let go. For example, this product, the Frodo product, is a brilliant product. One guy from IIT Bombay, another guy from Delhi, came together, reached a certain level, had some differences. At some point of time after the campaign, let go, split, let go. The only way to success is don't let go. Just do it. Hang in there. But before that, ensure the team is right, the process is right, the mindset is right, the product is at least 9 in one of the 3, and you have IP. Thanks, guys. That's it from my side.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sandy. We can open it out for questions. If you have any questions, please go ahead and ask.
Am I visible?
Yeah, you are.
Okay, I hope that this in a summary is giving a lot of answers that are there in the questions. There is one question in the Excel sheet that says, it sounds like we want to do something in the minimum number of iterations in the shortest possible time and the best possible approach for that. And also there is nothing like that. Just to let you guys, there is a process. The process has to be followed, and the process will take time, and the process will take the appropriate amount of cost, time and cost both. So it's your job as entrepreneurs to reach out, get to people. First of all, ensure that 9, and then make sure that you have the right amount of resources to take it forward. There is no fastest and the shortcut and the less iterative way. Our key skill set as a company is to look at a product idea and actually make a judgment on how many iterations this product will take to reach that level where it becomes a pilot. There is no shortcut to that. It's an elaborate process where you have to make the right calls, right judgment, and any of you can connect with me offline if you're confused as to how much time or process or cost you may need to take your product idea forward. But all of you are on the right track. Do your best. Change the game. India needs inventors, innovators. India needs to become an innovation-based economy. That's what we stand for. Invent India. I started this company, and whatever I'm doing, there's only one mission: make India an innovation-based company. Make in India is great, but Make in India is only going to give you 5-7% of the revenue of the product. When you invent in India, you're talking about 200, 300, 500% margin. You know, the Apple ICV, manufacturing cost of an Apple is $125 to $185, which is sold for $600 to $1,000. If it is made in India, on that ICV of $185, somebody is going to make 10%, 15%, 12% as the manufacturing assembly cost. But Apple is going to make the remaining $800. Of course, they want to spend a lot of money in marketing and all, but then that's how they are becoming cash rich. So instead of just becoming somebody where you are making 10, 15%, 20% of a Me Too product, try and create something where you change the world, where you take the economy to the next level. Okay, enough from my side. I've been talking for more than 2 hours. Shoot.
Hello, Sandy. Santosh here.
Hi, Santosh.
So we work in the space of, we are making products for rural India. And presently we are trying to make a footwear which will help farmers work better. And we kind of followed the design process because we come from, we are actually alumni of NID. So we kind of followed the design process.
Okay.
But because our final target user is someone who's not known to pay much, but our product falls in the category of somewhere between C, D of what you showed.
Okay.
So it means we need a lot of iterations, but wouldn't that add to the cost of the final product? And we are talking about a person who cannot pay much, although there are a lot of them.
But you're talking about mass market. So when you launch a Kickstarter campaign, okay,
right.
A good campaign, $1 million campaign, if it is a $20 product, okay, it is selling how many pieces? 50,000 pieces. If it is a $200 product, it is selling 5,000 pieces. If it is a $2,000 product, it is selling 500 pieces. So it really does not matter. As long as it is innovative and as long as the rural farmer says, my life is significantly better in comparison to what it was, either in comfort or he's able to do far more than he's able to do today, or it saves time for him. So of the three, something you have to enhance for him significantly. Once you do that, it does not matter what is your margin, because then your scale is higher.
Okay.
When you're talking about rural India, that is 70% of the country.
Right.
That is 100 crore people. Even if 5% of that become your audience, and even if you just make 2 rupees in every product, it is sufficient.
Okay. Okay. Fine.
Right. So don't worry about that aspect. If you create, see, another thing, every product has a market. Every product on the planet that you make has a market. If you make a Philip Patek watch, which is $6 million, 36 crores or 40 crores, that product also has a market. A Sultan of Brunei exists who will buy it. And if you make a watch which is 25 rupees with some shitty mechanism and which will not work after 2 months, then also you have a roadside guy who has a market who will wear it for 3 months and throw it away. Right. So the question is not what is the price point. The question is, am I significantly making the life of that person better in some way? Either of the three ways. If the answer is yes, you will have enough audience to create a business.
Okay. Okay. Right. Thank you. Thank you, Sandy.
No problem. Who else, guys?
Yes. Again, this is Ravi from Skyrapper. So, yeah. You have been telling us, so when we have a significantly improvement in the product and we can sell it to Hero or the big giants in the market in the same product category. But in India, we have done the same way because our technology is really good and we wanted to have a licensing model with the market giants. But that is not happening. So in India, getting the license model business is not so easy, and they want us to go for the market and have some market proof with your technology. And let's talk it later. So
wrong audience. Either you have a wrong audience or you're not ready. So, for example, if you're looking at OntoCook, if you take it to any investor, a typical investor in India who is investing in apps, he will say, "Ye kya hai?" Why? Because he's not experienced in launching a product like that. He doesn't have. He only knows how to make a Me Too app, and sell it to the competitor who's a bigger competitor and make money out of that, right? So if I have a food app that says, okay, how Indians can buy stuff better, cook food better, or something, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I have an investor. Similarly, we don't have precedence of a lot of licensing examples in India. If you talk to a company called Lifetime Brands in the US, and if you have a consumer product, they have established inventors who are like the heads of inventive organizations whose job is only to pick up products from the market and license them to different companies.
Okay.
Right? So your audience is not right. See, if the audience does not understand licensing, they have never done it, they have never made money on licensing, how will they take your invention, right? And if they really think that you don't have a proof of concept yet, or it is not worthy enough, then either they are diverting. And if you think that you have a proof of concept that makes sense, then look global. Find 5 consultants on LinkedIn who are helping licensing in this particular space.
You are true, because most of the market giants in India, they wanted to acquire the company rather than going for the licensing model. The licensing model business is happening only in UK and US, but not in India. But as an innovator, we wanted to have a continuous business. So there is a conflict between a licensing model and the company's business.
So see, the business is your choice. What you want to do is your choice. Licensing is generally done by designers or technologists who don't want to get into selling the product and distribution and manufacturing. That's not their mindset. Their mindset is, I'll keep creating innovations and somebody else should sell it. So then you have to create an ecosystem around you like that. That ecosystem does not exist in India.
No.
Okay. Don't hit your head. Don't waste your time with investors or with companies here to try and license something to somebody who has never licensed anything, who doesn't understand the whole system. Okay. Find 5 consultants who are the best in this space in licensing something related to automobiles.
No.
Search for them, reach them, connect with them, have some contract with them, give them your inventions, tell them to license to whosoever on the planet.
No.
Okay, that will launch you, that will start your business, and then you can keep doing more innovations or whatever. Finding the right audience is the key. That's what I've learned. So talking to 1,000 investors or VCs or something is meaningless. All of them. So instead of they doing your due diligence, you should be doing their due diligence. You should be trying to understand इसने कहाँ invest किया है, इसकी औकात क्या है, इसके पास अगर $200 million का fund था, उसमें से सारा he has already bloody spent it, or he has some risk money remaining. So you have to get into his backside and understand exactly where is he, because otherwise investors are simple. Okay, ये भी दिखाओ, वो भी दिखाओ, वो भी दिखाओ, ये भी भेज दो, send. Okay, you have to reach the right people, and you have to cut short your conversations with. You have to increase your options. Talk to 1,000 people to reach 5 right guys, instead of spending too much time with 10 guys and hoping that they will invest someday.
No. Okay. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Thanks for your insights.
No problem. Anybody else, guys?
Thank you, Sandy, first for the very interesting presentation. What I had, a question I had was, we come from software engineering and AI. Is there something specific to our field? Because a lot of what you said is geared towards, manufacturing of products, whereas mine is, also a product, but a software product. So do we have some challenges that are unique to our field? What has been your experience on it?
So if you look at the OntoCo product, it's a heavily AI-oriented product. We have an app. That app talks to the Samsung fridges. It understands what is there in your fridge. Then it needs to show you a recipe that you can cook on the basis of the ingredients that are available in the fridge. You can improve your recipe. The whole thing is cooked through the app. We are also coming up with a range of 3-minute, 5-minute, and 10-minute pre-prepared meals, not pre-prepared, partially pre-cut meals, which you will just scan the barcode and then the device will know what is the cooking process. And then if you modify anything in the recipe in terms of changing the knob, increasing the heat or increasing the microwaves and so on, it has to document that. It has to then put it as a new recipe and then launch it on a platform and so on. And we have some cameras, we have all kinds of sensors inside, including the weight, how much is being poured into the container and so on. And we are doing further higher end products where there is an overlap. So we as a company don't do only apps or only AI based products. Whatever we are doing is a combination of hardware and AI riding over it. So I have less experience where you're talking about a product which is purely in the software domain. I'm sorry, I can help you if it is a hardware software integration. For an individual app, we have done a few products, but they're insignificant from what you guys are doing perspective.
Okay, thank you for that. So I just wanted to also tell my takeaway that one was to go through the design process, and because I'm sure the process is same whether you're building a physical product or not. And there are times when we did try to jump from the design to the execution without going through the others. And it was interesting how you categorize people as, you know, conceptualizers, optimizers, executors, and idea generators. And I think that's again somewhere where we did use some people who are meant to be conceptualizers in execution, and you can imagine how that went. It was a never-ending cycle then.
Yeah.
So it was interesting. Did you use any sort of ready-made tests that people take to find out where they fall, or is it more based on how much you got to know them?
No. There are psychometric tests that allow
psychometric
you.
tests.
Yeah.
Okay. If you know any, please recommend.
Yeah. So there is a Basadur profile. BASADUR.
I'm sorry. Let me just take that.
Basadur profile. BASADUR. It's an innovation profile. That will help you map whatever I'm saying. I'm quite influenced by that. And so from people's perspective, that is something that you should do in your organization. Every team.
I didn't catch the alphabets. Could you mention one more time, please?
B for boy. Basadur. BASADUR.
BASABURY.
BUR.
I have just entered
Also
in the
mention in the chat.
box.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah. Jyoti ne chat box mein dal diya hai, so you can have a look at that.
Okay. Thank you so much.
No problem. But essentially the process is the same. Whatever I have said applies to both software and hardware, but I don't have experience, I'm sorry, specifically only for software products. Anybody else, guys?
Hi. Any more questions? In the interest of time, we could take one more question.
Yeah, I'm Raghavendra.
Yeah.
I'm also an associate professor at IIT Madras. We actually have been working on one sensing system for clinical diagnostics. So now, because of this COVID heat, basically there is a lot of requirement for COVID diagnosis. So we are working with one US company, Recover, and we actually now we see a lot of we want to actually go for mass manufacturing so that we can have some volumes in place. So we actually are now, in fact, this has been quite, I wanted to register for this mainly to actually understand how this process takes place. And the first slide really answered many of my questions. But most of the times we are limited by some of these right contacts who actually can do right things. So finding right people for doing one particular job or the other particular job has been quite difficult.
So that's why, that's the whole reason I told you that 50% of the businesses didn't move beyond prototyping stage, and because they are all caught up in this cycle. First, they are in death valley, they don't have enough money, and then whatever money they have, they end up spending with the not right partners and eventually reaching somewhere where they should not be. So that's why we started InventIndia, and my whole intention, my first 4 years were like almost 4 years out of the country every year, almost 4 months every year out of the country in China and in other neighboring countries and so on, just to make sure that I develop a vendor base. So I have personally visited more than 800 factories across the world and evaluated them, and we have an evaluation criteria. We have a matrix, and on the basis of that, now we work with about 150 different vendors for the products that we manufacture. So if you are stuck and if you want specific vendors, or if you want to develop a few things specifically, just let me know. My team will put you in touch with, the right people who can help you manufacture. No problem.
Sure. Yeah, that's great. So I'll get your contact details offline. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Sure. Please.
All right. Thank you so much, Sandy. I'm just wrapping up in the interest of time. So thank you to you as well as Jyoti for taking time off to interact so much with our participants. Do you mind if I share your email IDs, both yours and Jyoti's, with them, so that if they have any further questions, they can just connect to you?
No problem.
So I think Jyoti has just shared it on the chat also. So thank you, Jyoti.
Sure, guys. All for innovation. Anybody who wants any help, just get in touch.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Thank you,
Bye.
guys. All the
Bye.
best.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.